Welcome to your Thrive Era podcast, a show for high achieving women who are done with burnout and ready to reclaim their time, energy, and joy. I'm Shannon Logan, mom, wife, coach, and entrepreneur for over a decade. I know what it's like to juggle it all and still feel like it's never enough. But everything changed once I developed my set protocol. The simple yet sustainable way to take back myself, my energy, and my time. If you're ready to break free from burnout and finally thrive, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hey, friends, welcome back to your Thrive Era podcast. I'm Shannon Logan, wife, mom, coach, entrepreneur, and creator of the Whole Woman Reset. If you've ever found yourself wondering, how can I be doing so much and I still feel so behind? Why am I so exhausted even though I love what I do? Is it me or is something off? Am I missing something? Then what I'm about to share might just be the shift that you didn't know you needed. In fact, I'm just returning from an incredible week in South Beach after having an insane experience on the coaching side of Craig Valentine's Unstoppable Mastermind. See, the room was full of 40 people, all high output leaders, business owners, visionaries, and women in the industries who are making huge change. But beneath all of that exciting stuff, the wins, the accolades, there was this reoccurring undercurrent that I kept picking up. And it's one I believe you know quite well. Burnout, misalignment, some sense of quiet self-abandonment. See, it didn't matter how successful they looked on paper, the same three themes kept resurfacing. And they're the same patterns I've seen in hundreds of my clients and that I've lived through myself. So in today's episode, I'm sharing the three most important shifts that every high achieving woman needs to make if she wants to lead. Not just others, but herself, her family, her kids. Basically, I'm giving you a free trip to South Beach, going to give you all the great info that I learned, the three top things to take away, and you don't have to worry about a plane flight, a hotel room, or taking the time away. So let's dive into it, shall we? So the biggest takeaway, the number one thing I want you walking away from this episode with is the thought of 80-20. Protecting your 20% because it's fueling your 80%. Okay. So the majority of us have heard of the 80-20 rule, that 80% of your results come from 80% of your effort. Here's what most people miss though. That principle, it doesn't just apply to productivity, it applies to energy, it applies to joy, it applies to emotional resilience. So this week, in the thick of deep coaching conversations I had with so many clients, I realized that the things that keep me truly fueled, that keep me clear, calm, creative, aren't big, they're not expensive, they're not elaborate. They're instead deeply personal. So for me, my 20% that if I follow through in these things lead me to feeling connected to the people I love, connected to myself, calm, centered, a best version of myself if you would have it, right? So for me, they're my wake up time because what happens is I get up before anyone else in the house does and I get to have some alone time and I get to focus and I get to set myself for the day. So yes, I wake up super early, but it's because it helps me set my day up for success and overall just a level of calmness to start, which is what I need. I also learned that shocker, moving my body, not just from a strength standpoint, but also just getting fresh air, being outside, that movement where I do produce a little bit of sweat, but also endorphins, right? That burns off cortisol from stress. That is something to me that nourishes my body. That when I do that, that's 20%. That's one of my 20% efforts that makes everything else back in my day much better. Also, 20% breakfast date with my husband and daughter every morning, right? So I get up early, I work for about 90 minutes, calm and peace. And then my gets up, my husband gets back from the gym, and we start our day together as a family. We do breakfast, we get her dressed, we head off to work and to school, but we have that time to start that day. So we have that time as a family where it adds a layer of foundation for me. And then again, it's just having those things every day that I can count on as my routine that refills my cup. And it's three main things. If I get those three main things done, the other 80% often falls into place. That's what gives me 80% of my joy, my contentment, my sense of security. And so take some time and think about yours, right? If that's my 20%, what sustains me when the world is loud, when there's a lot of noise out there, a lot of people pulling for my attention, and I know if I come back to that 20%, it'll recenter me to take on those challenges. And yet, how common is it that when life gets busy, they're also the first thing to get sacrificed, right? Like maybe I'll cut my workout short, maybe I'll have to take a phone call, all these things. So that's my 20%. What sustains me when the world is loud and there's a lot begging for my attention? So I want you to take some steps and figure out your 20%. The whole point of the show is to help you design a life that you love, a life that feels as good as it looks on the outside. So we're going to get started with our first exercise. You're going to take out a journal and open it up to a blank page of paper, okay? And then I just want you to list out 3 moments in the last 7 days where you felt the most yourself, connected, aligned, just who you are. And then when you have those 3 moments listed out, ask yourself, are these moments baked into my routine or are they accidental, right? And if they're accidental, the whole point is how can we figure out to do more of those things? Because those are going to be the things that give us energy and excite us. Because we want to draw a non negotiable boundary around those 3 things. Set an alarm, block your calendar, inform the people that you care about, work, at home, etc. Because you can't build a beautiful life by bulldozering the very things that nourish you. So if you sacrifice them, you're always going to wake up feeling exhausted because you're not living aligned to who you really are. The extraordinary isn't doing more, it's guarding what's sacred to you. So if you take time and take 5 minutes and look at that 20%, that's going to point you right towards 80% of your happiness and your joy. And then you lean into it. You try to do more of it. Same thing on the reverse. 20% of the things that stress you out are causing 80% of that anxiety, dread, etc. So you can take this rule 80/20 and apply it to every aspect of your life. Your fitness, your nutrition, health overall, sleep. What is the 20% that you can lean into that's going to give you 80% of your results? When you start thinking of this manner, you can drop so many things that don't have an effect, that waste your time, waste your energy, and just make you more frustrated. So that was a huge takeaway from our mastermind meetup last week. The next biggest takeaway I had last week from South Beach was that alignment is not a buzzword. It's actually your battery. Okay. It's what's going to propel you through all the rough times. It's what gets me up at 4:45 every morning. It's the battery pack that when you're dropping this kid off, picking that kid up there, have to sign this permission slip, get this lunch, still figure out what's for dinner tonight. That's what you're going to draw from. You see, this part might sting a little bit. So many women I spoke to this last week were wildly successful, but really disconnected from themselves. They were excruciatingly brilliant and they were executing brilliantly on goals that unfortunately no longer resonated with them. And as a result, those goals were feeling like anchors around their neck, just kind of sucking them down. One client said something I won't ever forget. I've outgrown the dream I'm still chasing. Like, let that thing sink in. I've outgrown the dream that I'm chasing. I mean, how exhausting must that be? If you have something that you're working towards so hard, you're pouring hours into, energy into, time into, all of it, but you don't fit with it anymore. It could be a group of friends, it could be a job position you once had, it could be how you and your husband spend your time alone. Maybe it worked when you were 25, but now you're 45 and it no longer fits. See, that's what misalignment feels like. You're achieving, but you're not fulfilled. You're visible, but you're not truly seen. You're showing up over and over where you're supposed to, doing what you should, but you're slowly burning out. Misalignment, it doesn't happen all at once. It's a gradual erosion, kind of a slow drift, until one day you wake up, you look up, and you don't even recognize the life that you created. And it's so easy when we're juggling and spinning all the plates in the air. Work, kids, spouse, self. Usually that self comes last. But here's the beautiful part. Realignment, it's just one courageous decision away. Just one. So open up your calendar right now. Go pick it up. I'll wait. Go do it. Did you do it? Okay, good. And for each task that you have on there, I want you to ask yourself, is this in alignment with the woman I'm becoming? Is this still serving my current self? Or is it just feeding into an outdated version of me? Now, listen, I know there's a lot in there that you can't change right now. It might be school schedules and it might be work roles, but these are all things to start thinking about. And go through your calendar and ask those questions. And then I want you to highlight in 3 colors. Take a marker, take one of your kids' crayons, and find green first. And I want you to go through it and highlight all the things that energize you. Okay. Then I want you to take a red marker, crayon, pen, whatever it is, and highlight, underline, circle all the things that drain you. And then lastly, grab a yellow marker, pen, etc. And this is just neutral. It's not one way or the other. This is where like those tasks that you just have to do, put your kids to bed. It's going to drain me, but there's no way to get around it, right? But overall, the ones that are just more neutral for you. And then once you've gone through the whole list, the whole calendar, the whole week, identified every single thing with a color, zoom out a little bit. Look at it on a whole for the whole week. Is there a dominant color there? What's the pattern that you see? If 70% of your life is in red, no wonder you're tired. All your energy is being sucked out. But here's the thing, don't panic. Pick one red item and start to rewrite it. Start to say no, delegate it, delay it, maybe redesign it. We have a great saying in the coaching program I work with over at Early to Rise, AED, automate, eliminate, delegate. See if you can AED the things that are super red for you. Because it's no wonder that you're feeling fatigued and burned out if the majority of your calendar is going to be those red items. You don't need to redo your life. You don't need to move to Bali or completely go back to times where we didn't have a cell phone or Wi-Fi, but you do need to realign it. Because when your life mirrors your values, your energy won't be manufactured. You won't need the coffee and the energy drinks and the sugar to keep up with it. It'll just flow because you'll get energy from your schedule. You'll get energy from your activities. And it's like a snowball effect. When you have more of it, you want to do more. And then it just keeps feeding itself. So that's the second big lesson. That alignment isn't a buzzword. It's your energy battery. And when we start to pay attention to that throughout our day, we can manufacture more positive energy that's fueling for us instead of all the stuff that tends to drain us day in and day out. All right, so the third biggest lesson to take away from South Beach last week with over 40 incredible high achieving entrepreneurs and some insanely successful females in there that are just changing the course of an industry is lead yourself like you lead everyone else. Okay. This was almost a gut punch last week for the room because one of the coaches shared a quote that made everyone stop in their tracks. And he said, the standards you walk past are the standards that you accept. Let that sink in for a second. The standards you walk past are the standards that you accept. See, because it's easy to look outward. My team's not stepping up. My house is always chaotic. Why does everything feel so reactive? Why can't I ever find anything? But the real leadership doesn't begin with your team or your schedule or even your husband. It begins with your micro decisions that no one else sees. Are you skipping lunch and instead saying, oh, I'm just going to work really hard today? Are you saying that rest matters, but you decide to stay up late binging Netflix or catching up on emails? Are you checking email at dinner and wondering why your kids don't look up? See, self-leadership. See, self-leadership means modeling the life you say you want before you ask anything of anyone else. So pick one promise that you've been breaking to yourself, usually again and again, because that's how they happen, right? And it could be your morning routine. Maybe it's the workout you never have time for. Maybe it's something as simple as unplugging by 8 p.m. Define it, make it specific, okay? And then name that new standard. So define it, so it's specific, name it, and then I want you to honor it for 3 days in a row. Follow through on it. When you do this, you build trust in yourself. You build pride in yourself. And again, you can't lead others. You can't be good examples if you're compromising what you say is important for yourself. Because the only standard that truly matters is the one that you set for yourself when no one's watching. Raise that, and everything around you will rise to meet it. And if you have kids, you know that they have eyes everywhere and they're watching and they're listening everything we say and we do. And my daughter, she learns from what she sees much more than what I tell her to do. There's the other saying that I hear often that I love is that habits are caught, they're not taught. Because I can tell my daughter to behave a certain way, to speak a certain way, to act a certain way. But at the end of the day, she models what she watches at home with her mom and her dad. Okay. So as we wrap up, here's what I want you to walk away with. Protect your power rituals like your life depends on them, because it does. Protect that 20%. Take the time to figure out what your 20% is overall in life, especially in the things that drain you the most and the things that bring you the most joy. If you to walk through that and identify that 20% that causes you the stress, the anxiety, the exhaustion, and then start to apply AAD to it, automate, eliminate, delegate, man, that alone can revolutionize your life. Okay. And don't just to set goals, make sure they fit you. That's that whole point about alignment being our battery, is that when we set goals, when we set agendas, when we set timelines, when we align our life with our core values, then we don't have to reach for outside energy boosts. Then we don't have to depend on coffee and all sorts of caffeine and sugar fixes and nicotine and all and drinks and wine and all that stuff to get us through the day. Because there's no getting through. We have things we are doing that we enjoy. And lastly, model the energy, integrity, and alignment that you expect from others, because your example is your leadership. And when you raise the tide on that, the rest of the boats will rise up to meet you as well. You don't need more hacks. You don't need more hustle. You need a homecoming back to yourself, back to what matters, back to what fuels you. So here's your challenge. Choose one red zone habit that you're going to eliminate. Choose one sacred routine that you're going to protect, and make those bold shifts right now today. Go text a friend, go text a colleague, go text a family member and let them know so you have accountability. Heck, you can come on Instagram and send me a message, Coach Shannon Logan. I would love to help you out with that, because when we have accountability, we tend to stick to things a bit better. So go do that right now. Not when you have time, not after that email or this launch or when the kids get older. Do it now, because time is running out. And you're going to wake up in 5 years and wish you had done that today. And if this episode landed for you, DM me. Share that shift that you're going to make. Screenshot it. Tag me. I want to celebrate the moment you reclaimed your standard, that you took those top three lessons from South Beach and said, you know what? It's time to redesign my life. So I'm excited to wake up every morning, because your Thrive era, it starts the moment you choose. All right, guys, until next time, stay anchored, stay centered, and keep thriving, because you deserve it. That's it for today's episode. If this hit home for you, don't just let it be another thing you hear. Take action. And the best way to start? Download my free masterclass, The High Achieving Woman's Escape Plan. 3 steps to reclaim your time, energy, and self. In this exclusive session, I'll show you exactly how to save over 5 hours a week, stop burnout in its tracks, and live in alignment with the real you. Click the link in the show notes and grab it now. And if you love this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Until next time, keep thriving.